How are you today?
Fine, thank you, my love. And yourself?
Yeah, pretty good. It's a little bit dark. Is my screen a bit dark for your liking?
It's probably no darker than mine today.
Hmm. The sun is shining here on the Gold Coast, you can rest assured. And Annie and I have had meeting after meeting this morning, discussing lots of different things. We're pretty pumped today. So today we thought, instead of bringing someone on to chat with you, we're going to talk about doing the salon flip. And this is something that if you know Annie or you've heard of Annie, is the queen of the salon flip. Now, if you don't
Did
know
you
what
say slip or flip then?
did I say what?
Did you say slip or flip then?
Flip. F for Freddie.
Must have wax in my ears today.
The salon flip. So we're talking about doing the salon flip today because Annie's the queen of the salon flip. And if you know Annie or you've heard of Annie or you've seen any of our live broadcasts, you'll know that this is what Annie does best. She creates salons, she manages them into money-making machines, and then she sells them. So that's what we're talking about today, is doing the salon flip. And the reason that we're talking about it is because we were talking this morning, Annie, about some salon owners create salons and they just stay in them until the day they die, but they don't look at it as a potential asset that they can sell, right? Oh, she's going off.
No. Stopped it, sorry.
So a lot of people don't look at their business as an asset that they can sell. They look at it as though it's a place they go to earn a living.
Correct. That's exactly correct. And I think that we often, as young estheticians, therapists, we get into the business all starry-eyed and ready to conquer the world. And we open a salon and then, or you might work for people for a period of time and gather more knowledge and then decide to open up your own. And often that's exactly what happens, Nikki, is that business owners, and not just in our industry, but many business owners, small business owners, fall into that same trap. They're making ends meet. They're making enough money so that they can pay their rent, maybe their marketing, their staff, their taxes. But at the end of the day, they're keeping everybody else employed. It's like being a bank, and they're the last one that gets paid. Like, everybody else gets paid first, and if there's anything left, you get it. So as we know, it's very stressful having a small business. So, we need to be thinking about how to do business smarter.
That's right. And thinking about the business as an asset rather than somewhere where you go to earn a wage or earn a living. And I think that's the big difference, don't you think, psychologically with business owners, is that they don't look at it as though they're building an asset that they can sell.
I would agree with that many small business owners out there, they want to be self-employed. They don't want to be answerable to somebody else, or, some of us think that we can do it better, than other people. And so ego comes into opening businesses, and then it's not quite as easy as we think, from the outset. And you're right, Nikki, a lot of business owners don't realize that every single day they're building a saleable asset. So what they do every single day in that business matters if they're going to realize the full potential of the value of that business when they want to exit it.
Yeah, so they really need to flip that switch in their brain, right, and start thinking of the business as an asset. And then I think they'll see an exponential rise in their revenue because they're just looking at things through different eyes.
Well, they will be looking at things through different eyes. If you think of your business like bricks and mortar, it's like owning a house, and potentially, your business will have, in a 12-month or a 2-year period, even considerably more growth than if you had an investment property. So if you think about it like that, for example, so if house prices go up, and I don't know, I'm just pulling a figure out of the air, let's say they go up, I don't know, 4% a year, 5% a year, your business, if you flip that switch and rethink how you're thinking about your business, and not just opening your doors and having a job every day so you can pay everybody else first, and really believing that this is an asset that you are growing every single day. This is like guaranteed money in the bank, and in a short period of time. You could sell your business for a lot of money in a 2-year period. A lot of money.
And what's the average amount of time? I know that you're done with doing the salon flip now, and your gig is, you know, us working together and helping people to do the salon flip. But when you were creating your successful salons, Annie, and selling them, and your clinics and medi-spas, what was the average amount of time that you would keep that business?
Oh, 2 years. That was it.
Yeah. So you would start the business and be out of it within a 2-year period. So
absolutely.
And what would you say would be, how long would it have taken you to reach your peak in turnover?
For me, it was really quick. I had a business, this is a few years ago, and I had sold a business. I'd had 12 months off, just not doing too much really. And then I was bored. So I decided I'd go back into business, but I would only do what I wanted to do. It didn't have to be bigger than Ben-Hur again this time, Nick. I wasn't really thinking in that moment, I wasn't thinking about the back end asset, which is usually something that I'm thinking about from the outset, as you know. But because of what I know, seriously, that business turned over huge amounts of money. Like, it was an instant success from the day I opened the door.
And there's not many people that can say that about their business, is there?
It was amazing, seriously. I only had, I think, 52 square meters, which is quite small, 2 treatment rooms, very small reception, and I had a 2-year lease on that premises. And within 9 months, I was looking for new premises. So I actually had to pay the lease out. You know, so I'm paying rent on 2 places, but it was so worth it because the business was so profitable. I could afford to pay the other lease until they found another tenant, which clearly they took their time to do because they were getting my money every week.
Yeah,
but, seriously, it was in no time. It wasn't like a slow burn. It didn't happen for me like that. And it doesn't need to happen for the salons like that either. It just doesn't.
And you just follow a very strict formula, which is what we talk about quite often when we go and speak at these conferences, like the ones that we're doing in the States in July. And I'm thinking positively there because I'm visualizing that we are going to be in the States in July. So that's what we talk about when we travel around and educate people, is about, you know, following this formula to success, you know, and you follow that formula all the time. So you did have different levels of success depending on the business that you own, but every salon was successful without a doubt.
Absolutely. And I made a lot of money selling each of those salons, and I made a lot of money while I was in those salons. So, you know, and I certainly will give a shout out to the staff, because you certainly can't do it if you don't have great staff, if you haven't got a great team, and you're not generous. And that's part of your success, being super generous with your staff, so that they will work hard for you.
Yeah, exactly. And look, I have to say that, you know, the staff of yours that I did know, and I didn't know all of them, but the ones that I did know, they were slick. They were super slick, and they were obviously very well trained by you. They had these personalities that were absolutely perfect for the roles that they were in. And the thing was that they knew their job back to front, inside out. So there was no question they couldn't answer. And so that was one of the secrets to your success, was having the right staff and having them exceptionally well trained.
Absolutely. Let me give you an example of that, Nick. So let's say that you've got a salon that caters to middle-aged and beyond women. So I would be your market at 60 years old. So
looking pretty good for 60, I've got to say.
You know, and I haven't got a stitch of makeup, nothing on today.
You look gorgeous.
Thanks, darling. So, you know, don't give me a 19-year-old or a 20-year-old to do a facial on me. Do not do that. What do I have in common with a 20-year-old girl fresh out of beauty school?
And it's all about rapport, isn't it?
It is about rapport. Now, she might be a fantastic therapist. She might be a very sweet thing, but I can tell you from an older woman that I don't want the young girl. I want somebody who knows what a hot flush is, or who has grey hair the same as me, and I want to have some common ground, even though I'm laying there. I like to talk in a facial. That wouldn't surprise you, Nick, would it?
No surprises there.
So, I want someone who can have a good conversation with me. That doesn't mean I need to control a conversation as a customer, because a good therapist wouldn't let me control a conversation. But, it just doesn't work for me. If you've got a really young clientele that does lots of waxing, brow shaping, that kind of stuff, well, then you want the young girls in there, because that's who your market is. So it's, I know that might sound really quite basic, but I can tell you, ask any older woman, a client of yours, and seriously ask them, do they want the young girl or do they want the older girl that's had years of experience, years of life experience?
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you. And I'm not quite 60, but I absolutely agree with you 100%. If I'm going to a clinic and I've got someone that's working on my skin, then I'm not going to have anything in common with a 19 or 20-year-old. I'm going to be intrigued by their lifestyle, but, I'm not going to ask for them again. I'm not going to try and rebook with them again. So it's about having the right staff that are going to be able to build rapport with your customers, because once they build rapport, then they're coming back.
That's it. And it's not about having the same personalities either, Nick, within that salon environment. You have to have different personality types. You have to have people that have strengths in some areas and and others to compensate. So I'll give an example.
I'm just going to duck out for 1 second. You just keep going.
Yeah, sure. Years and years and years ago, I had a clinic in northern New South Wales, and a lady came in off the street, middle-aged, and pointing at her finger and demanding that the owner of the business do her eyebrow wax and tint for her. And I said, well, I'm the owner of the business and you don't want me, seriously, you don't want me to do your tint and your wax for you. You want my girl, this is her name, and she's the eyebrow queen. She is so good at this. So, no, you really don't want me. So that woman actually ended up being a long-term loyal customer. But, I certainly didn't want to deal with that woman's really strong, obnoxious personality back then, but I had the perfect girl for her that can manage personalities like that.
That's right.
And I know if you're out there listening to this, you're probably thinking now, well, show me the money. Tell me what all the money tricks are. But this is part of it.
It all adds up.
It all adds up. That's exactly right. It all adds up. So making sure that you make really good hiring decisions is really important. And hiring when you don't need them. Because what happens is you end up making decisions out of desperation and you hire the wrong people, and then you end up with staff problems. Well, I never had staff problems, ever, because we just hired the right people for the job, and I would get them in. Even the receptionist. Now, as far as I'm concerned, if you've got a receptionist, the receptionist is probably the most important person in that whole business. She's the great girl. She's the one that can do the extra sales from the front desk. If she's also taking the calls, to book people in, she's got to be as well trained as any therapist.
Yeah.
Really.
Exactly right. And they can make a lot of money for you if you're in a business that does have a receptionist or a concierge or something like that. Then definitely they can make at least triple their wage for you. That's what they should be making, really. But another aspect of that, Annie, is look, I remember all the treatments that you used to deliver, and they were all high-end treatments. There was no fluff and puff, as we call it, in your clinics. You never ever did fluff and puff. Your treatments were all high-end. And they were all very profitable treatments.
Yeah, so, and results driven, Nick. which is
and
really,
results driven, absolutely.
yeah.
And I know that, people you used to do great marketing, and I know that I've worked with you on marketing over the years, but you were the ideas woman in a lot of the things, and most of the things that you did to get people in the door. So you constantly worked on your marketing, and you're one of the very rare clinic owners that knows that you cannot run a business without running marketing 24/7. And that was something that you constantly did. And, back in the era of print media, you were pretty much out there all the time. Every single week, without fail, you were running ads to get clients in the door. And once clients came in the door, they stayed with you because you had such a slick procedure, didn't you, with retaining those clients and selling them packages.
That's true. I was everywhere, and I did controversial headlines so that people, would take them back, and my market was me. My market was exactly my demographic. So, I guess the difference was I was working my market, Nick. When you know your market and you know that this is part of the secret, is when you absolutely drill down and know who your specific market is. It's easy to find those people. It's easy to create marketing to those people if you are clear about who your target audience is. So for me, it was about having women, my demographic, that were only maybe working part-time or retired, so that they had plenty of time to come to the clinic. Because as you know, I never wanted clinics that opened Thursday nights, Saturday mornings. I didn't do that. We worked Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And I think we did probably 3 hours 1 week out of 3 on a Saturday. That was it. But we didn't encourage it. We did not want the people that had to come after hours. So the working girl market, the 30-year-old market, was not who I wanted in there.
And that's the first steps that you always took, wasn't it? Was defining who is your ideal client, and I guess creating an avatar of who that client was. And then from there, everything else flowed, didn't it?
Well, it's easy, because you can't be everything to all people, and not everyone is going to like you. Not everyone is going to like your business, your style of business, your marketing, your content, and that doesn't matter. Not everyone's going to like you as a person. Not everyone likes me. So we can't be we can't be offended by that. Punch them in the schnoz. But anyway, it's defining who that market is. When you know who that market is, you know where they hang out. You know what excites them. You know what gives them pain. So you know that selling is about giving someone a solution to their problem or their pain. So it's not hard. But there is a formula. That you're absolutely right, Nick. And it's just putting all the pieces of the puzzle together. It's like a combination lock, and you've got 4 locks, and you've only got 2 pieces of the puzzle. So with only 2 locks, that combination is not going to open. You have to have all the pieces to the puzzle to actually have the success that that you would like to see in your business.
So what you did was, you had the vision, you created your ideal customer, you created your marketing, you got the right staff, you had the right treatments. That's really important, because a lot of people go into business and they're delivering treatments that they themselves personally would like, rather than what their ideal clients want to have.
So glad you raised that, because that's exactly what I was going to say next to you. What I often hear, and it totally does my head in, salon owners will say to me, well, I'll try it first, and if I like it, then maybe we'll do something with it. Well, seriously, I just want to smack them, because it's not about you. It's about your customer.
That's right.
It's not about you.
That's right.
So, you think about your business like a supermarket, and on the supermarket shelves, you've got 10 peaches, and you've got olives, and you've got whatever else. We don't like everything that's in that supermarket, do we? There's going to be things that we don't like in the supermarket, and yet we still go to the supermarket and we pick off what we want. So as a salon owner, you can't be doing that. You know, you've just got to be staying true to your demographic and not trying to be all things to everybody. So if you've decided that you're going to be the anti-aging expert, then you should know what your demographic is. So are you in the prejuvenation anti-aging market, or are you in that middle-aged, already got the lines and wrinkles market? So you're trying to reverse aging. And even with that, Nick, that there's a difference how you're going to market to those two segments. Now, that doesn't mean you can't have those two markets in your business, because it's still anti-aging, prejuvenation and rejuvenation. All it means is that you've got to have specific protocols in place, if you like, or treatment plans for those two people, but it's going to take different marketing.
Exactly right. Yeah, and it all goes back to knowing who your customer is. And you know, a lot of you know, that is something that frustrates me as well when I'm speaking to salon owners. And because as you know, we sell lip plump, and we sell goodbye wrinkles and a few other products. But and people will say, well, I want to try it first, and if I like it, then I'll sell it in my salon. Or we hear about them talking about treatments and equipment. You know, if I like it and if I see the results, then I'll put it in my salon. However, you need to think like your customer. You need to act like your customer. You know, lip plump might not suit you. You might not want plump lips, but your customer might. So you've got to think and act like your customer when making decisions for the business.
That's so true. And Nick, you and I have had this conversation so many times over the years. And I can tell you, COVID-19 or not, nothing has changed other than the fact that we're not physically in our practices right now. But business when we come back, is going to be the same. It will be modified in some ways. And I'm not talking about the hygiene side of things now. I'm talking about the business of doing business. So whether it was way back, then, years ago, or whether it's now, I'm using the same formula. We might be using different mediums. So Facebook is obviously huge, and we didn't have so much of that back then. But I used what we had then, and I marketed in many different areas. The one thing I can tell you, Nick, is I never did generic ads. So I didn't do one ad that said, microdermabrasion peels, LED, blah, blah. I never did generic marketing.
No.
I would pick one treatment, one modality, and market that as a standalone. But the same week, I would be marketing standalone other treatments. For example, body and face. So,
Right.
now, yeah. So, I needed separate ads, because if someone's looking at face, they're not looking to get body work done, and vice versa. So I had to pitch to both markets, and the more money I spent and the more ads that I did, the more money I made.
That's right. And it's directly relatable, isn't it, Annie? Because the more you spend on your marketing, the more money you will make.
Absolutely.
And if you've seen us talking before, there's a client that Annie and I have that opened up an anti-aging clinic in one of our major cities here in Australia. And before she was even open, she was booked out for 3 months. So she knew her market. She did her marketing to attract that market, and bang, she was, flat out from day one. And she hasn't looked back, and it's nearly 2 years that she's been open. Up until we were closed down, she was still booked out. So you've got to know your market. You absolutely do. And you've got to do marketing to that market.
That's it. So I think, while everyone's off now, it's a really good time Nick, for people to have a look at, you know, what's working. Like, just go right back to basics. And we've talked about this so often over the last few weeks, and that's reviewing your business. And part of that review process that we've put together is about reviewing your treatments and reviewing who your demographic is. So if you find after you've done that review that you've got the wrong, or maybe not enough, or you could change your protocols or treatments for that market, or maybe you've got protocols and that's not the market that you're pitching to. It's, you know, now's a really good time for you to review that. So I would definitely jump on, Nick will put the link up shortly, and you can download that ebook.
It's amazing because that ebook that you're talking about, Annie, that just doesn't have the step-by-step guide to reviewing your business. It's actually 7 ways to future-proof your business. Correct. So there's actually 7 strategies in there that you can follow step by step. So it is an amazing ebook, and I think it's been sold for $78. It's ridiculous money because it's part of a $2,000 course. So if you're watching this and you're interested in doing some work on your business, then I reckon you've got to download that ebook. We'll pop the link up so you can have a look at it. But absolutely, it's so valuable. So getting back to the salon flip, Annie, because that's what you're all about. And you know, just recapping that, you know, a lot of businesses or business owners don't look at their business as though they're creating an asset. So if you just change the way you think just slightly and look at your business as an asset, then you will change the way that you're doing things, because you're removing that emotion from the business. Do you know what I mean, Annie? It's a
absolutely. And you know, it allows you to then make business decisions, not emotional decisions, because often what happens when you have no strategy in place, then we are governed by reactions, if you like. So, you know, the world implodes and everyone's having a reaction. Your phone's not ringing, and then what happens is you react to that instead of acting beforehand. So what it will just make you do is really wear that business hat, not that emotional hat, because when we're in that reactive mode, we don't make good business decisions.
No.
We need to be learning to make good business decisions every single day so that we don't have to react poorly when things go wrong. So, yes, you're right. If you can flip that switch
and remove the emotion, you know, like I want everyone to be passionate about their businesses, but if you can remove the emotion and start thinking about your business as an asset, because, you know, Annie, you've created and sold, flipped businesses for hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I know that girls out there, all of the therapists out there who have these businesses would love to be able to sell their businesses for hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Well, I'm sure they would, but, you know, unless they change the way that they think, it's not going to happen. So, you know, because we talk to them all the time, we understand how many of their brains work, if you like, Nick. And, you know, you'll give advice, but I get sick of hearing the yeah, but. Yeah, well, that's a good idea. But that won't, it won't work in my business. Well, don't tell me why it won't work. Tell me how you're going to make it work. So that's the difference in a person's level of thinking, you know, whether they're going to go straight into yeah, but, or they're going to go straight into, okay, I can see I can have some problems with that now, but I think I can, you know, I think I can sort that out. I think I can find a way to make that a really good solution for the business. That's right. So flipping the switch, having that.
Sorry, Annie.
Oh, sorry. No, I couldn't hear you then, Nikki.
I was just saying that it's interesting in this time, it's really shown a great difference in the attitude of business owners. You know, this crisis has hit us. No one really saw it coming. It came quite fast, and it's been interesting how people have reacted and to this crisis and being shut down. Some people have really crumbled and been very stressed and really done nothing except, you know, apply for benefits. And then there's others who are going, okay, well, this is our normal for now. What are we going to do to make money? And they're the ones that we love, the ones that are going, I was even talking to one of my salon owners this morning, and she actually shut down before the shutdown for her own health reasons. And she said, I'm actually enjoying this downtime. It's a really positive thing for me because I'm getting time to do the things that I want to do and work on my business. And that's the attitude, that's the difference in attitude between someone who's going to work to earn a living or someone who's creating a saleable asset.
Well, look, I hope everybody takes the time over this period to evaluate their business and take stock of now.
Yeah, I hope so.
It doesn't mean that you've got to be working all day, every day on your business, but you need to be thinking about how you're going to, or what your plan is going to be, when our doors open. You want to go back to a full booking, like a fully booked appointment book. You don't want this to be slow and in drips and drabs. You want to have absolute bums on beds from the day that we're allowed to open again.
Yeah.
And look, I'm hoping it's not going to be too long, but look, if it's another month, you know what? You've got another month to
work on your business.
No excuses. You've had a couple of weeks now where you've had your holiday or you've stuck your head in the sand and don't know what to do. But look, I think it's still going to be a month away. We
don't want to dwell on that because we're talking about the salon flip. That's what we're talking about. So what we want to do is we want to get people thinking like an entrepreneur or a salonpreneur, like you do, Annie, and get in there, get amongst your business, start thinking from your customer's perspective, and you know what? Create that saleable asset, and the money will come if you change the way you think and the attitude that you have towards your business. The money will come, just like it has for Annie time and time again. And that's why she's able to do the salon flip. She's never, ever been emotionally attached to her businesses. Have you, Annie?
Never. It's like houses though for me though too, Nick. I never get too attached to a house. I've moved plenty of times. Doesn't mean I don't like living, when I buy a house, but it's the same kind of thing. I don't have the emotional attachment. It's a business. From the day I open it, it's a business. It's a means to an end.
That's right.
So that allows me to make business decisions. And look, when you're young, or if you haven't thought this way before, it does take a little bit of practice to not sometimes get sucked into the emotion of business. Right? But seriously, if you can just think about your business hat every single day, and part of the flip, if you like, and we briefly talked about staff before, is making sure that your staff are trained really, really well. Now, I don't mean in treatments. You have to assume if you hire someone that they've already been trained really well anyway in doing treatments. So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you training them on how you want them to actively participate daily in your business. And that's not just as a therapist doing treatments. They need to have targets. They need to have bonuses and incentives and things that get them excited so they'll work harder for you. So that's another part of the puzzle, if you like, is to make sure that your staff are engaged, that they're learning, but that absolutely you have expectations.
That's right. And the other thing that you used to do in your salons and clinics was you didn't waste money on unnecessary training, because something that you said just then was that you have to assume that you're employing people that are skilled and are experienced and have a knowledge and an understanding of the treatments that you're delivering. So you weren't forever upgrading their skills for them. They were already skilled. So you could then spend that money on your marketing.
Absolutely. That's exactly right. You need to have the equipment, and you need to have the marketing if you're going to work. And for me, I'm just going to talk anti-aging again, because that's the lane. That's where the money is. It's not in waxing. I'm telling you, it's not in the low-end treatments. Customers are really savvy today, Nick, don't you think? And
absolutely.
So they know what's out there. Sometimes I've had customers come to me and say, oh, look, I've seen this. Can you tell me anything about it? And I'm going, geez, I've never heard of that. So you clients are out there on Facebook all the time.
Oh yeah, they're super savvy. They do their research, and they often go searching for treatments. So if you don't have the latest and greatest treatments, then they're going to find out where they are, because there is no loyalty. Social media has done something to the way customers think. It's given them the power back. That's why you as a salon owner needs to work so hard on keeping your customers loyal.
You do. And you've heard me say this so many times, Nick, it's about putting a fence around your customers. And the only way you can put a fence around your customers is if you have what's current and relevant in the market today as far as treatments go. But when I say that, I'm talking about what's relevant to your market.
Yeah.
Right? They're very different things here. So that's the first thing, that you need to make sure that you have current and relevant protocols or treatments to your marketplace. And I forgot what I was going to say there. I have to come back to that one. There's another part to that, but
well, you know what? We're here every day anyway, so I'm sure if it comes,
maybe I'll think of it tomorrow.
It'll come out in another conversation. But we're going to sign off now. But what the message today is that we want you to have a look and have a really deep think about your thought processes and how you think about your business, because it's you that could be standing in the way of your own success, basically. So we want you to start thinking like you are an entrepreneur running a business that you are going to flip. And then you will see the massive differences that you can make in your business. Rather than being emotionally attached to your business, try thinking like an entrepreneur, because entrepreneurs aren't attached to their businesses. I can tell you that. They're in business to make money. So
that's right, Nick. So just to shorten that, is that these owners need to be thinking from where they actually want to be down the track, because that will make you make better decisions. If you're thinking from a position that you're already there, and work backwards.
Exactly right. So anyway, we've done enough talking today, Annie.
We have. We've got some exciting things happening next week for you.
Oh, so exciting. I can't wait. So we're having the weekend off, aren't we?
We are. Happy Easter, everybody.
Yeah, happy Easter to everyone. And you know what? If I was you guys, I'd spend this weekend with your family and your dogs and your gardens and your, put a bottle of wine in your room, do a pub crawl or something. But, have a happy Easter and stay safe, stay healthy. And Annie and I'll be back next week. But don't forget to visit salondivas.com, because we've got some great online courses and they're all heavily discounted at the moment. So if you want to get in touch, drop us a message. But as always, it's been great to chat with you today, Annie.
Back at ya.
See you later. See you next week.
See you next week. Happy Easter.
Bye-bye.